So many of you know I have recently moved into a new house. We have a lovely converted garage that is my studio / office space for work, and I've kind of decked it out how I could at the time, and it is a really good space and it is beautiful to work in and I'm really enjoying it. However, there's one part of the room that I just can't quite settle on, and it's not making me feel creative, it's not making me want to do stuff over there, and it's these desks here. So if you've watched some of my acrylic pour videos, I pour on these desks and this is where they all stay there till they dry, and then when I've varnished them, that's where they all cure, and it works really well. It's a lovely big space, it's a really nice area to do it, not that much light, but it's a very long room, I can't really sort that out other than with studio lights. However, underneath, because these are just two dining table desks that I've had for years, and I've had these at 3 houses now. I've carried them with me. They've really done the job and they're perfect. However, underneath, it's just a absolute barrage of boxes and clutter, and I'd really like to organise the space and just make it look a lot better. So I've spent months and months trying to come up with different ways of doing this. So at first I thought, maybe I connect the 2 tables into a bit of a square, add wheels on them, create a little moving desk. But then we have the issues of the fact that I still don't have the storage. Then I thought, let's have a look on Pinterest. As you know, Pinterest is an absolute minefield of ideas, and a lot of them I get drawn into that I really shouldn't get drawn into, and one of which was actually using Kallax units. And so I've designed kind of this square Kallax unit that I could put wheels on, put a desktop on, and it would have the storage around it by having the 2x2 Kallax units ×4, and it would work really, really well. However, I designed this in my CAD software that I use for work, just to see the sizes, to see kind of how it's going to work, and it would have worked fine. It just would have used a lot of room up in this room. It would have taken a lot of the width up in the room, and I don't think it would have worked in the end as much as I'd want it to. So I scrapped that, and then I kind of just left it for months, and it's just still bugging me. It's just something about it I really don't like. And then I looked behind me and I saw this iVar unit, which is by Ikea. It's a modular unit, so you buy these end posts, you buy the shelves, you can put the shelves wherever you want. As you can see, there's dowel areas there, and the shelves just slot in wherever you'd like them to. You can have them at different heights, so there we've got a step up. You can have them at different depths, so this is a 30cm depth. I am going to go for the 50cm depth. So my idea initially, okay, there's a lot of ideas going on here. As you can see, I've been toiling with this for a while. My idea initially was to have the iVar at the back and then have folding tables coming up. So Ikea do have folding tables that match the iVar units, but they're very expensive for what they are. It's just a piece of flat pine that folds up. However, I had a look at making my own. I had a look at B&Q, which is the hardware store here in the UK, and buying planks of pine would have been really awkward because you can only get them at certain widths, and so I'd have to have kind of spliced 2 together, and then the issue of trying to figure out how the legs would work and how they would fit when they folded back in the end, that ended up just being too much effort and work. So we're sticking with the iVar unit for the storage at the back. I'm thinking either it's going to store all my packaging that's currently in these iVar units, or it's going to store stock, which will be really nice. I can do stock picking when I'm packaging orders, etc. And after stalls, I'm thinking I might decant all my stock onto the shelves if I have room, and it'll just get rid of these big bulky boxes in my room and again create a bit more space. So if you've managed to stick with me this far, that's the idea. I'll try and show a bit of B-roll over what I've just said to kind of show you what I'm meaning. But I've placed the order. I placed the order for the iVar units. Now, in terms of desk space, which is obviously the other issue, I've also ordered a little desk, and it's one of these really cool ones that I see in Ikea all the time. I've always wanted one. They're a bit like a haberdashery desk. It's you can alter the height of them, you can alter the tilt of them, so you can have it as a drawing desk, which I thought was really handy. And overall, it's a little narrower than these 2 desks that I currently have, but it's a lot longer than 1 desk alone. So I will be gaining some space, also losing a little, but it should work perfectly fine. And I've bought some wheels, some little casters to put under the bottom, so I can move it around the room. You'll see, it'll all come together. It will make sense. So I've ordered that last night to come in at Ikea that I can pick up, so I didn't have to get distracted walking around Ikea. You know, it happens to all of us. And I just need to pick those up this morning, but it's not quite ready. So in the meantime, I'm going to get rid of everything in this room so that we can get on with building as soon as I go and pick it up. Alright, so the space is clear. We've just collected all the IKEA stuff, and I have the 2 side posts for the IVAR. Now, you might be thinking, these are so tall, they're going to be blocking all this artwork. Well, like I said, I've been planning this for months, and basically the shorter level you can get for the IVAR, the shorter sides, is too short, and then the mid sides is slightly well, this is the middle side that you can get. He's obviously slightly too tall, and then the taller would have been too tall. So basically we worked out when we measured that if we half either the tallest or the mid size, it would fit really nicely underneath this artwork on the wall. Now the taller one, if we halved that, would have come, the side of these would have come just below this frame, which would have been just a bit too high. So we went with the mid one, and I think this will be perfect. It should come to about here, which will allow me to put a shelf on top and things to sit on top, and it won't obstruct the gallery wall too much. So basically we're going to cut these in half. So I'm going to do some measurements and you will see this cut in half very shortly. How about now? Alright, so they're all cut down, they're all sanded. So they're all pretty much the same height. The beauty of this is they're not going to be close enough together that you're going to be able to tell. But I've sanded them all down. I've curved off their edges. These are going to be the tops, because obviously if I've cut a little bit skew, I've hand cut all these with my saw. Had an injury in the process, but we won't talk about that. So they may not be the most flat. I did use my trusty, set square. Thanks, Mum, for buying me this. It's come in very handy to make sure that they're as flat as possible when I measured them, but obviously my cutting may not have been quite as accurate without a power tool. So they're going to be the tops. I think it's pretty good. They're still sturdy. They've both got 2 beams in to hold them together, so it should work. I'll only need 3 of them, so the 4th I'm going to keep as a spare in case I need it for the future. But for now, I think these will work really well. So I'm going to start assembling this. It shouldn't take me long, and then that will be the shelving unit part done, and we'll move on to the desk. The shelves are up. I've not put the middle shelf in because I want to start transferring some of the packaging onto there so that I know what height it needs to be, because there's quite a few A3 size stuff that I want to go on this, so I want to put that in, and then I can put the other shelves on top to make sure that I'm utilising as much space. But I think it looks really nice. I did have an oversight on the fact that when I cut these beams in half, the holes would be at different heights, so I did have to flip that middle beam round, and we are there or thereabouts at the same height now, which is good. Luckily it wasn't too much of a disaster, but if you are going to do this project and you're thinking of cutting it into several sections, do bear that in mind and perhaps measure where your holes are going to be, or you may have to be drilling new holes. But other than that, I think it looks really nice. I think it's utilising the space nicely. This bathroom door opens a lot better. I'm obviously going to neaten everything up once it's done, but I think it looks quite good how it is. There's still a very sizable amount of space. It comes out less than my desk at the end there does, so I don't feel like I'm eating into the room too much. But I think for now I'm going to start transferring a few of my packaging bits. I'm not 100% sure whether I'll want to keep them there, but for now I think that's where I'm going to transfer everything, and then we will build the desk after that. Quite a bit of time. I'm on the floor because otherwise you won't be able to see it. I've managed to fill this side with all my packaging materials. It's so deep that I've managed to double up, so there's a row of envelopes at the back there and a row of envelopes at the front. The only thing that hasn't fit in these 2 shelves here are these flat pack boxes and a big stack of A5 board back envelopes. So they will probably go on the bottom of that side. But that's really good going. That's emptied 2 big shelves on my other shelving unit. Well, 2.5 actually. So that's really good going. I'm going to empty that kind of knockoff Kallax unit that I've got and kind of sort this out. But I may need another shelf in there and potentially another shelf for the other one as well. But for now, I think this will do. So yeah, just back to more organising. I just thought I'd catch up with you and show you what I've done so far. Alright, so I've preliminary filled this. Behind this left side is a load of my acrylic pour canvases that are still for sale, but I'm not taking them to my markets anymore because there's too much to take. So they're just behind there and very easy to access if I do sell any of those. And then the rest is just packaging. I quite like the look of a packaging area. and it'll be really handy to use this as a bit of a packaging station, as well as like my pour canvas drying station, etc. So that'll be really handy. And then over here, as you can see, I've managed to free up this one, this one, this one, because I moved my printer over there, and this one. This, I've brought some stuff from the top here down, and a few things from here over. I don't really like the way this is looking. I do think I might need another shelf or two up here to segment this, and then I'm thinking of getting bins, and this can be for all my stock. But as far as anything else to kind of go anywhere in here, it's all out. The only thing left that I put in the bathroom here is stock. In that is just some mushroom substrate, which I'm growing mushrooms myself, don't ask. That I'm going to be putting in one of these cupboards in here, and the rest is all stock. So I think I've managed to create way more storage, and it looks way nicer as well, so I'm really pleased with that. Now let's make the desk, and then we can finish tidying up, and then the room should be done for now. Alright, so that desk was really super quick to put together. And the last thing to put on was these caps. So these go on the ends here so that they protect your floor. However, don't mind this plaster, it's coming off. However, I want this desk to move around. So I bought these little casters. Yes, they only go forward and backwards, but you can obviously rotate. If you move one side of the desk, it'll rotate. And I want it to be able to move around and be modular so that when I'm filming, I can film in different parts of the room, you know, try and find the best light or something like that. And I just think it was the best option. And so I have these. So I just need to kind of see how I'm going to do this, because obviously there's those holes left for those caps. Now, I don't know whether these line up with the holes, fine, but I don't know whether the screw will go into them because they're quite deep. So I'm going to see whether they do go into them or whether I'm going to have to come up with some other solution. So let's try and work this out, and then the desk will be done and we can finish off the room. as you can see, I kind of stuck with that rustic theme. They didn't have a black top, they just had a dark grey, which I find really odd. But anyway, I thought it would have been too much white and wood in here, especially when I have kind of these dark legs over here and all my kind of darker setup and the dark frames on the walls. So I thought a nice dark tabletop, a bit dusty from being on the floor, but I think it looks really nice. And I basically stuck in, as you saw, the protectors on the bottom of the feet and then just screwed in the casters into those, which seems to have worked. This moves around, it's a little bit noisy and it does rattle ever so slightly, but nothing major, but it's perfect. I can drag this around the room, I can make it go wherever I want it, and I think it'll just be really perfect. So the only thing that's left to do is just tidy up, really. But that is basically the end of this video. I'm going to do a studio room tour very shortly, so I don't want to show you much more of my organisation, and it might develop in the next week or so until I do that tour. So this is probably it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching me kind of do a bit more DIY to just your bog standard flat pack furniture. We've cut down the size of the shelves and we have added casters to this and just made it a bit more of a unique space. And I think it works really well. I think I've opened up this space and made it much more usable, much more, you know, user-friendly for what I need, and I think it's going to be perfect for my needs and I'm really happy with it. I hope you've enjoyed watching this kind of DIY bodge job that I've done. I hope it's been helpful for any of your own ideas and plans for your studios or bedrooms or whatever you're wanting to do. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.